Well, we're so happy to see everyone here tonight. We want to welcome you. I'm Bonnie Mendenhall, Governor of Desert Coast Region and part of STAT 2. We want to welcome everyone here for the roundtable. We have a few guests that I want to recognize. Sue Riney, I think we saw you log in. Hello, Sue, our 2526 SIA president from Northwest Region. Welcome. Did Ginger come on yet? I didn't see her.
No.
Okay. Dawn Marie Lemons is past SIA president and past Desert Coast Region governor. Susan Sam Buchanow is past SIA president and past Desert Coast Region governor. Deborah Mackey is a former SIA board member. Susan Gilby is a former SIA board member and past Desert Coast Region governor. And I think that's everyone on the SIA angle. Let me know if I missed you, please. I see Elise Bagley, governor from Founder Region, and I don't see any of my other sister governors right now, but if they come along, we can say hi later, maybe. Okay, I have a few out. Oh, I need to tell you what STAT stands for first. Sorry. STAT stands for Soroptimist Together Against Trafficking. During the program, you're going to find more about the origins of STAT in our regions in Southern California, and you'll learn about STAT 2 as well. For housekeeping, we need to put your name and club and email in the chat box. I mentioned that earlier, but in case you joined after, that way we can reach out to you once our meeting's over with more news and information about Soroptimist Together Against Trafficking. Also, we're going to have a time for questions after the panel discussion. So please put your questions in the chat box so that we can address them later. I have a short overview of our program for tonight. We're going to start with a panel discussion featuring 4 presenters from 4 Soroptimist regions, each bringing different examples of work they're doing to end human trafficking and supporting those affected by it. That question and answer opportunity will happen after the panel. There will be a presentation about STAT 2, especially showing the work we've done, supported for legislation advocacy. And we're going to end with an invitation to become one of our supporters. I'd like to introduce Deborah Samuel as moderator. Deborah is a member of SI Simi Valley, where she is chair of human trafficking awareness and has been involved with their work since 2018. Over the years, Debbie's Soroptimist Committee has gained great recognition and participation as they have presented wonderful and diverse programs on human trafficking for hundreds of people each year. Debbie works full-time as judicial staff attorney for the Riverside Superior Court. Okay, Debbie, welcome.
Thank you, Bonnie. And thank you everyone for being here. It's just a pleasure to see you all here. I'm not going to take up a lot of time before we get started with our 4 wonderful panelists, but I did have 2 threshold matters to address for our viewers. In order to see the slides, you can click on options on your screen on the top right, and then click on side-by-side speaker or side-by-side gallery. Our panelists have some slides they'd like to share with you. So I'll give everybody a minute to set that up if you'd like. And then for our panelists, I will introduce each of you individually, and you'll have 10 minutes of a presentation. But I will also be interrupting at the 2-minute warning mark. I'll try not to interrupt a salient point, but just to give you a little nudge so that we can keep things rolling. So with that said, we're going to start by welcoming our first panelist, Sam Buchanow, from the initial STAT group that provided the inspiration for our own STAT 2 group. Sam's Soroptimist leadership journey began when she joined Soroptimist International of Valley de Oro in 1981 and includes services as Soroptimist International board member, SIA president in the year 2015-2016, chair of the SIA Fundraising Council, and governor of the Desert Coast region. Most recently, Sam served as the coordinator of SIA's Donor Relations Task Force and is a frequent guest speaker at a variety of regional events and meetings. An active participant in STAT, Soroptimist Together Against Trafficking, Sam and her friend Judy Dunnigan are co-creators of the Soroptimist San Diego County Live Your Dream Collaborative, which has led Sam to serve as a member of the Community Advisor Board at Grossmont Community College and Community Advisory Board at Cuyamaca, I hope I pronounced that correctly, Cuyamaca Community College. Sam is an active member and volunteer in the United Methodist Church of Christ in her local congregation and beyond, and serves on the board of an Arizona nonprofit, Wisdom Good Works, which is reducing rodent overpopulations through fertility control technology that is organic, effective, and eliminates the need for dangerous poisons. After a varied career in legal and investment advisor firms, Sam now consults independently with former employers and clients. She also performs a variety of paralegal duties, working alongside her attorney husband, Tom, who is also a community volunteer. Please welcome me in joining Sam, and welcoming Sam, I'm sorry.
No, the STAT, Soroptimist Together Against Trafficking, as you know, is here in San Diego is a rather loosely organized collaboration or cooperative consisting of individual members belonging to 10 or 12 clubs throughout San Diego County. This is a very flexible number, sometimes more, sometimes fewer, but all of us who participate in STAT are first and foremost members of local Soroptimist clubs. STAT began with the Soroptimist International of the Americas Federation-wide initiative in 2008 called Soroptimist Stop Trafficking, in which clubs throughout our federation were encouraged to speak out against human trafficking as one of many forms of violence against women. Many of us weren't really sure what we could do aside from letters to the editor to raise awareness on this issue. But given our geography, which, as you know, we have an international border with Mexico immediately to our south. We have the Pacific Ocean, and we were aware of many possibilities for trafficking. And of course, as our awareness grew, we learned that trafficking was also taking place within our borders. It was really our SI San Diego club that got the ball rolling in 2008 by inviting all of the San Diego area clubs to participate in a Soroptimist Stop Trafficking march through downtown San Diego, from the train station to the main courthouse, carrying signs and passing out leaflets. And our efforts were recognized in the June 2008 issue of Best for Women. But that was it until January of 2010, National Human Trafficking Month, when SI San Diego nudged us all again to meet with local elected appointed leaders as speakers, and 80 of us showed up, including the press. And they did it again in 2011, another crowd. And this was turning into a bit of a habit. So our clubs, each of our clubs, was learning more about the horrors of human trafficking. And about that same time, our district attorney here in San Diego, Bonnie DeManis, was among the first local DAs to apply for federal funding to pursue and prosecute traffickers, which drew a lot of national attention to San Diego and the issue of trafficking. But of course, with federal funding came the need for a support system within the county, and a county-sponsored community forum on trafficking with approximately 100 people in attendance, survivors, prosecutors, service providers, a really interesting and diverse group. This group then has grown and morphed over time into a county-wide coalition of which STAT is a part. And San Diego County, because of this early interest, has become well-known and well-positioned to do things about trafficking. And among those first 100 were about 20 Soroptimists from several local clubs, a few of whom are going to be featured in the slides you're going to be seeing this evening, and are still active in STAT. They looked around the room and said, let's have lunch. And at that lunch, I guess it's fair to say, STAT was born. So STAT grew organically out of the convergence of a Soroptimist program, Soroptimist Stop Trafficking, and a demonstrated community need. But the first real STAT meeting was in June of 2011, where Soroptimists tried to figure out how we fit into this overall picture of stopping trafficking in San Diego. And this early group recognized that Soroptimists were not equipped to be service providers, but we could connect with the service providers in the county to assist with some of their needs, and we could bring awareness to the issue through our network of members, friends, and supporters. And meanwhile, lots was happening in the anti-trafficking space throughout California. In 2012, petitions were underway to get a human trafficking sex offender registration initiative on the California ballot. We circulated petitions and participated in a countywide walk to bring awareness to the initiative. We were successful, and so was Prop 35. Somewhere along the line, we decided that screenings of anti-trafficking films could be useful for public awareness. And our first formal effort at public awareness was a film screening in January of 2012, again during Human Trafficking Awareness Month. And the film was Indoctrinated, which we screened at 3 sites around San Diego on the same time. And it included a public discussion forum at each of the sites. This was seriously ambitious, but we did it, and STAT was on a roll. By this time, STAT was meeting monthly, sharing information, and moving forward with the San Diego Regional Advisory Council on Human Trafficking, the initial group where it all began. We continued to raise awareness through public film screenings. In 2013, we did the abduction of Eden with another public forum. In 2014, the film was chosen. In 2016, we screened Sold. In total, over 2,000 people attended our various screenings. Each screening was followed by a panel discussion, including local thought leaders and government officials such as our district attorney, our U.S. attorney, federal, state, and city prosecutors, and law enforcement officers, as well as prominent service providers. And of course, we're Soroptimists, so we branched out into a variety of community projects assisting the local nonprofit service providers and, as it happens, the San Diego Police Department. They needed an interview room that would be conducive and comfortable and a relaxing space to interview victims. We also funded local teen survivors to attend a youth leadership conference in Sacramento, and a number of other things. But in 2013, STAT began an annual event which we call STAT Salutes Our Mission Heroes, which continues to this day. This became our signature annual event where we award mini grants, supplying financial assistance to a variety of local service providers, and recognizing like-minded people, businesses, and organizations which step forward to take a stand against modern-day slavery on their own initiative, not as part of their usual work. And those efforts are focused on women and girls to assist them in their efforts to help victims become survivors and to fight human trafficking. And this is a big annual event. It's a ton of fun. We do a little bit of fundraising and a lot of friend raising. We also, at this event, use this occasion to celebrate our STAT Soroptimist Live Your Dream Awards, given to a woman.
This is your 2-minute reminder.
Yeah, who have all the regular Live Your Dream qualifications, but also have the lived experience of being of having been trafficked. And STAT also contributes 10% of our annual fundraising proceeds to SIA Club Giving. More pictures of our wonderful events, which continue today. I'm going to go through this quickly, I hope. There are a lot of these people. I hope you recognize some of these because I know members know these folks. So, STAT continues to cooperate with a variety of anti-trafficking community groups, and for years we've been a presence at Comic-Con. In 2016, we sponsored a Southwest Conference Against Trafficking. We were at the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. We sponsored posters on our local transit trolleys. We continue to raise awareness through local fairs and that kind of thing. We've received a number of awards, of which we're very proud, and I'll tell you more about those later. In 2020, we pivoted to do some other things on Zoom, like we all did because we needed to. In 2023 and 2025, we were back at Comic-Con handing out fans with information about the dangers of trafficking. And recently, we've been talking about doing another film screening. So that is the story of STAT. STAT continues to impact the anti-trafficking space in San Diego and to shine a positive light on the face of Soroptimist throughout our little corner of the country. Thank you.
Sam, thank you so much. I didn't know the history behind Stat 1, and it's fascinating, all of your work, Prop 35, all the films, everything that you do. So very much appreciated that you shared with us.
Thank you. I only wish that one of our founders, Lisa Lindgren, could have been here tonight, although she wouldn't have done any better than I did at sticking to the time. But she really knows the history, and she would have been here tonight, but she had a really important club meeting tonight. So thank you. It was
wonderful. And to be honest, I've had a timer on. You were exactly 10 minutes.
Oh, good.
Our next speaker is Deb Ostrike from Soroptimist International of Kenton/Hardin County in Ohio in the Midwestern region. Deb is the founding executive director of Safe Haven of Hardin County Domestic Violence Center. She's been involved as an advocate in some capacity for nearly 17 years and has been a Soroptimist since 2019. Deb is happily married and lives with her high school sweetheart 41 years. They have 2 grown children and 2 beautiful grandchildren. Deb, I'll leave it to you.
Well, thank you so much for, excuse me, inviting us to be part of your roundtable. We are very humbled and honored that you guys have included us from Little Ohio to be part of you. Before we get started, I think it's important for you to understand a little bit about Hardin County, Ohio. Now, in our conversation before everything started, Dawn Marie knows exactly where we are because her sister just moved from Lima, so she knows exactly where Hardin County's at. Our population for the county is approximately 30,500 people, and we're located in Northwest Ohio, and we are 471 square miles in size. We are predominantly rural, and mostly agricultural and manufacturing are the main economic drivers for our county. We have an old order Amish community that makes up about 3.4% of our population. And our claim to fame is that all NFL footballs are made here at the Wilson Football Factory, located in Ada, Ohio, which is essentially just out my back door. So when you watch any of the NFL football games, you're seeing a piece of Hardin County on the field. We have 1 Walmart, no Kroger, no Myers, no mall. We have to travel at least an hour to get to a Target. So that kind of gives you an idea of what the demographics and what Hardin County looks like. We love it. Those of us that have lived here our whole lives, we love it. Our Soroptimist organization was chartered in 1965. We just recently celebrated our 60th anniversary last March. And as a group, we've donated to the Soap Project that puts bars of soap with human trafficking hotline numbers on the wrapper and hotel rooms at large events across the country. Some of those events have been the Super Bowl, the Arnold Classic that is held here in Columbus, Ohio, and the political conventions. The Soap Project was started by Teresa Flores, who is from Ohio, and she wrote the book, The Girl Across the Street, about the period of time in her life that she was a victim of sex trafficking by the boys across the street. It's a very, very good book. Some of us have seen her in person, and she has an amazing story to tell. So what I'm going to talk to you tonight about is our Priceless movie event that we have done. If you've not heard of it, it's a movie that was released in 2016, and the actual title is called Priceless, She's Worth Fighting For, and it's inspired by true events. The movie is rated PG-13, and it's about an hour and 37 minutes in length. One of the first parts of the project was gaining permission from the studio for us to be able to show the movie. And at the time when it was released, they were encouraging groups to show the movie. So they had a form that was available online for us to fill out and to obtain that permission. So that part was easier than some other movies are to be able to get the permission to do that. Then we started reaching out to some partner agencies that we had worked with before to inquire about holding events at their venues. So we talked to middle schools and up, because this movie is definitely designed for middle school on up. We talked to libraries, churches, and other social groups. We even utilized the community room at our sheriff's department and held one of our events there. We applied for funding from our community grant foundation. That happens every year in February, and then we find out in May if we get the money, and then it has to be spent within that calendar year. So we wanted small, intimate group settings when we were holding the movies, because we felt that the small, intimate setting would be more impactful for the girls. And we did find that it allowed some girls that had experienced any sexual assault or any kind of abuse as a child, they felt a lot more free to come and talk to us after the movie, because we were in a small setting. We used large screen TVs or large projection screens, whichever was available at the venue. We're aware that January is Human Trafficking Month. However, January in Ohio is not a weather-friendly month to be able to hold events. Plus, it's the middle of basketball season. And so it was very difficult to try to find opening dates that we would be able to get attendance. So most of our events were held in the summer months when school's not in session for that very reason. While we were waiting to get responses back from our venues, we started preparing our PowerPoint presentation. And we used data from the Ohio Human Trafficking Task Force and the Polaris Project to make our PowerPoints, so that it would have information that was going to grab the attention of teenagers and their parents. For instance, at any point in the state of Ohio, you can be out of state in 90 minutes or less because of all of the interstates that are intersecting throughout our state. For us here in Hardin County, we are anywhere in the county, you are like 20 minutes from 30 that runs across the entire country. And we're probably 30 minutes away from I-75 that runs also north and south through from Michigan all the way down to Florida. We also talked about the fact that during the summer months around here, signs start appearing for summer jobs for kids, and they're paying really high rates. And so we were telling the parents to be very careful about what summer jobs their kids take, because these signs were made to entice the teenagers. And a lot of times they were having their interviews in a neighboring county at a hotel. And when the kids would call in about it, then they would tell them when they could come for an interview, but they would suggest that they not bring their parents. That's a huge red flag. And so that was something that we were wanting to make sure that the parents were aware of, and to tell them to never allow their kids to go to any kind of job interview without them. Our motto became, if it seems too good to be true, it is. And it's better to be safe and don't engage in these things. We also made sure to talk to the kids about all the online information that is available as to what's happening in the gaming world. It's unbelievable how easily these traffickers can get to the kids through online gaming, through all the Snapchat and through TikTok and all the things that's available on their phones. And it seems that kids are getting younger and younger, getting telephones. And so we need to make sure that our kids are being protected. We made it clear to those in attendance that human traffickers are not like the creepy old white vans that we grew up knowing to stay away from. And they're not going around snatching our kids off the streets like they used to. They're coming right into their living rooms. They're very sophisticated in how they go about getting in touch with these kids. And so we wanted to make sure that the parents were made aware of all of those ways that they will
This is your 2-minute warning.
okay, that they will, entice the kids. We also served food at the venues, so we worked with them. So like at the churches, the women from the church would prepare a simple meal. We partnered with local popcorn company in a neighboring county to have popcorn available for the participants to eat during the movie. And I think the biggest thing that we did at the end of the movie, we bought handheld mirrors for the girls, and we wrote words of affirmation on each mirror. And we would give them to the girls. We'd lay them face down in front of them. And then we would tell them at our signal to pick up the mirror, and then they would hold it and see those affirmation words like priceless, beautiful, gorgeous, unique, all these positive things to help build them up. That was just a very, very powerful moment for us to end the evening. We gave them goodie bags with lots of information on from mental health agencies on teen dating violence and counseling. We had businesses and organizations that donated things like small bottles of lotion from Bath and Body Works, nail files, hand sanitizer, basically any of those little things that girls would like. That's what we had for them to receive at the end of the night, along with all of the information. Our attendance varied from 6 to 20 people. It just depended. With our small community, it's extremely hard to find a time that does not conflict with the school event. And that's why we held several different events in the different communities in our county. We have 5 county schools, so we tried to hold an event in each school district. And right now we're in the planning stages of another priceless event for our county. So we're hoping, we're wanting to try to do something in January for Human Trafficking Month. We're just a little gun shy with the weather, but
Yep.
so that's what
time.
Okay. So that's our priceless event.
Thank you so much. It was really interesting to hear the backdrop about your town. And of course, we'll never look at football the same. And the way that you navigated Priceless. I mean, so many tips for putting on an event like that. It's just outstanding what you've done. So thank you for sharing all of that.
Thanks for asking us.
And we're going to move on now to our third speaker. I'd like to introduce Caden Ferretti from Soroptimist International of Clovis in the Sierra Pacific region. Caden is a retired police dispatcher. She started Dream Bags, which was originally called Hope Bags, with the FBI because of another service program called Cases for Kids that benefits foster children. Out of a conversation with an FBI victim specialist, there was a specially curated list created for victims of human trafficking. A couple of years ago, this is very interesting, a family from Ukraine was rescued from a human trafficking incident. By law, the FBI is very limited on what they can do to help, but they reached out, and the mother, two teen girls and a teen boy were sharing a scarce number of kitchen utensils and one pot, one set of sheets among all of them, and 3 blankets. Soroptimist International of Clovis members and friends donated a multitude of day-to-day necessities to help. They had already received dream bags and were in tears over the extra items. Soroptimist International of Clovis was recognized by the FBI of Fresno for their assistance and challenged to expand the program statewide. Dream Bags now has 5 Soroptimist International clubs in the Sierra Pacific region, supporting several FBI offices, and are soon to reach Southern California. Hayden, I'll turn it over to you.
And that's where all of you get involved. Do you want my PowerPoint, or do you want me just to tell you when to turn slides?
Just tell me when to turn the slide.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dream bags are full of especially curated list of personal care items for victims of human trafficking. Created after a conversation with FBI victim specialist Holly Peacock Hickey. I also run a program called Cases for Kids that benefits foster children. And during a conversation with Holly, realized Cases for Kids could assist a couple of children recently recovered. Our conversation turned to how bags with personal care items could benefit victims of human trafficking. The list was created and Green Bags was born. Slide 1, please.
Oops. Now it's not moving. Great. Hold on.
This is a dream bag.
Oops.
Oh, there's my PowerPoint. Oh, I love that. That's the dream bag. Most items are gathered from dollar stores and placed in backpacks, dance bags, duffel bags to give the women something to hold on to. Next slide. The bags are full and the ladies receive, next slide, a plethora of personal care items. Now, the original list has grown as we've become aware of additional needs, like manicure kits to help the women cut off the nails they've been forced to grow long, or take off the nail polish, or back up one. Oh, well, yeah, that was the personal care items. Full size, please. The next size is we have added a simple pair of pajamas that SI Clovis adds to give the women something to wear. As a retired police dispatcher, I was part of 2 cases where we pulled women out literally naked because that's how they controlled them. So back to me. Please keep in mind, the list is specific for a reason. We don't put in lipstick, but chapstick. We don't force any specific color on the ladies. If you feel you need to add nail polish, make it clear or a very light nude. But there are 2 very, very important items that need to be in the bags. Next slide, please. Sanitary napkins, not tampons. If you've been a rape victim a few hundred times, you can give flashbacks, not the harm we want to give. Also, many of the women are taught how to use tampons to hide when they're on their periods, so they can continue to work the sex trade. Next slide, please. But what has become a star on its own are the handwritten notes with words of encouragement, support, written to a friend and signed a friend or your first name. That's I would like to share the story of the very first bag given by Holly. The victim told her that note was the first thing she saw in the mornings when she woke up and the last thing she saw when she went to sleep. In court 2 years later, she pulled up that card because she still continued 2 years later to carry that note. A couple of years ago, a family of 3 teens, 2 female, 1 male, and mom, who got caught up in a human trafficking situation out of the Ukraine. Holly Peacock Hickey asked us if we could assist. Because by the law, they're pretty limited on what they can provide, which is understandable. But they were literally sharing a pot, a single set of silverware, 3 blankets, and the contents of the dream bags that each one had been given. Holly says they were already feeling overwhelmed with the full dream bags, but SI Clovis members donated and purchased kitchen items, towels, sheets, paper goods, and almost $200 in Walmart gift cards for other essentials and clothing. Sierra Pacific region SI clubs have also been able to start helping support. Well, I kind of messed up here, my notes here, but it's okay. Basically, FBI Fresno recognized SI for their efforts with the dream bags and the Ukraine family, and challenged us to expand dream bags into other FBI offices in California. Sierra Pacific region SI clubs have also been able to start supporting and working with a couple of street level programs like Breaking the Chains and Magnolia House by supplying dream bags to them as well. There are 4 main FBI offices, San Diego, Los Angeles, Sacramento, San Francisco. There's a lot of smaller offices like Fresno and Bakersfield. I'm asking you, Soroptimist members of Southern California, to consider taking on Dream Bag Challenge. SIA already has a staunch stance, I guess I should say, a staunch stance on human trafficking on a national and international level. This is a way to support on a street level for the victims of human trafficking, the sex worker, the housekeeper, the care provider, the gardener, the sweatshop worker. The needs are great, but each dream bag gives a victim a bit of empowerment for their future. Ta-da!
Hayden, that's your 2 minutes. Hayden,
Yes,
that's your 2-minute warning.
I'm all done.
Oh, wonderful. Well,
Da, 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 da.
8 minutes. Well, your dream bag project is just outstanding. It's just amazing what you've done and your plans to expand to Southern California. It's very exciting. Welcome to Ventura County, I hope. And I hope other
Invite me
people
over.
listening to
I've got
this
a
will be
girlfriend,
able
a
to do
partner
it.
in crime with SI Clovis who will travel with me.
But it's all of the things that you told us about the dream bags, what an impact your club is having. So thank you for sharing all of that with us. Now, our final panelist is Michelle Strausser from the Southern region. By way of introduction, Michelle joined Soroptimist International of Tampa in 2005 as a 4th generation member. She has served at the club level, regional level, and most recently at the international level as a 2024-2026 board member. She is the current Laws and Resolutions Chair for SIA. She served as a governor of the Southern Region from 2020 to 2022 and is the immediate past secretary-treasurer for SIA. In July of 2024, Michelle took the lead on chartering a new Soroptimist club in Pasco County, Florida, and was on the team who helped charter another new club in the Southern Region, Soroptimist International of Glades and Palm Beach North. She's deeply committed to the mission of improving the lives of women and girls with a deep passion for Dream It, Be It. While volunteering her time at Soroptimist, Michelle also owns 3 Orange Theory fitness franchises in Georgia. She has worked as a healthcare administrator for 24 years with the same multi-location medical practice serving the greater Tampa Bay area. Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Miss Debbie. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. We'll go ahead and go to that first slide, Debbie. Thank you. So as they stated, my name is Michelle and I'm from the Southern Region. So it is 10:17 here in Tampa, Florida tonight, and I'm excited to be here with you all. I wanted, before we start this, to speak about something when Sam was speaking. We've recently partnered with a tech college that has a lot of teens that go through, and we've partnered with them for the Dream It Be It. But in our partnership, we spoke about silos and synergy. And a lot of the organizations or workshops that I've heard from Deb and from Sam and from Caden are all kind of other nonprofits that we can help create the awareness for. And the silos and synergy just had my brain going while you guys were talking, because sometimes we tend to try to operate on our own, but when we put these nonprofits together, we can achieve so much more. So that silos and synergy was just something I wanted to share with you all as we started this presentation. I was asked to speak tonight about the work that we're doing in the Southern Region on human trafficking awareness. This first slide here is our Stop Human Trafficking Awareness Walk that we participate in. So this is the new Soroptimist International of Pasco and Tampa Club. We do a lot of work in the awareness side. There's a strong belief going through our Southern Region. I speak with a lot of our governors, a lot of our members, that we do a lot of work to try and help women come out of the circle of trafficking, but we're not doing enough work to prevent them from falling into the circle. And that's my passion. So when we said that my passion was Dream It, Be It, it was how do we reach them at a younger age, and how do we get word out to people so that they can also help reach them at a younger age as well. So next slide, please. Our Soroptimist International of Davie, Caden, to your point a moment ago, they do the, I don't know if it's called Dream Bags. I'll have to find out the name of it, but they work with the FBI in preparing bags that have a specific list for trafficking victims. And so this is something that our Soroptimist International of Davie Club does. And on the next slide, you'll see that our Soroptimist International of Davie also does a very unique project. They have not restarted this project in the last couple of years. It went from many, many years in person, then they had to take it digital during COVID, and they're just getting it back going. But it's called Stolen Girls, Stolen Dreams, and it's an art competition, a poster competition in the high schools where teens create posters of awareness for human trafficking. And it's something that makes the papers down in Davie, Florida. It really dials the women and the community together about what it is that this looks like from a teen's perspective, right? So we know what it looks like, what we hear, what we think. I think it may have been Caden was saying it's not, the white van that we were all told as children, right? And so with the tech world, to Deb's point, the tech has created this additional visual for our teen girls to be on the lookout for. And I think these posters really kind of highlight what that looks like for them. So this is an amazing project that they're doing that has, again, taken its own suspension, but hopefully they can get it back going in the high schools. Next slide, please. Our Soroptimist International of Tuscaloosa, they started something a few years ago, the Alabama Human Trafficking Coalition. We have Pat McKay, who's a former SIA Board of Directors member. Some of you may know her. She sits on that board, and she's actually with our Huntsville Club, But the Tuscaloosa Club has always been highly active in the human trafficking awareness sector, and they were trying to find a way to do their awareness projects, but a little twist on it. And so they started the Shop to Stop Human Trafficking Holiday Market. And this was a way to bring vendors together, to bring the community together. And it does benefit the West Alabama Human Trafficking Task Force. But it is something that has grown bigger than what they thought. I remember meeting with their club when they first launched this, thinking, oh, I don't know if this will have any teeth in the community. And the outpouring that they've had for this annual market now has really drawn the attention of the community. The newspapers, things of that nature are involved. And then they also do a human trafficking prevention awareness event in January. Most of our clubs down here in the southern region are doing an awareness event in January. So part of the reason when I spoke to my good friend John Marie and then Susan, that we wanted to bring the southern region over to California to let you guys know that we are still working on human trafficking awareness over here as well. So next slide, please. This is Soroptimist International of Huntsville. This was on one of their calls where their meeting was canceled because of a pending storm. So they were all dressed in their blue to have their digital call or to have an in-person meeting and ended up having a digital call. And so I just wanted to show the Huntsville Club. And that's, of course, past board member Pat McKay there in the top left if you're looking at the screen. Next slide, please. Soroptimist International of St. Lucie, this goes back to that Silos and Synergy. This was a big event that Soroptimist International actually hosted, but they brought in speakers from Catch the Wave of Hope. And so this was synergy between nonprofits that are working to promote human trafficking awareness. And they've started doing this where, again, it draws media attention, the community comes together. And it is, again, more, I saw there was a question in the chat, I think, and it asked, like, what are we doing in this front? I can't say in the southern region that we're doing anything specifically with the victims or survivors, I should say, and I'll show you on the next slide here. We do more of the awareness and more of the collection and then provide the goods to the other nonprofits that are working directly with the women or, you know, the individuals. I don't want to just say women, children, and possibly some men that the FBI also get out of those situations. So the next slide, some of you guys may know who Connie Rose is. She is from the southern region, but she was trafficked by her father as a child. And her family was a very prominent family in Tarpon Springs, Florida. And she would go to school and she would get called out of school to go have sex with Johns by her father. And the school thought she was being called out of school to go play the piano or have lessons or go to church. And so she put on a face and went to school and then would leave and go have sex with men in vehicles, all under the guise of a very prominent family here in the Tampa, Florida area. And so Connie has become a dear friend of mine, and she comes and she speaks not just about human trafficking, but one of the things that she does now for Soroptimist International of Pasco and Tampa is she will come teach a course on cyber awareness, the threats of technology in human trafficking at our Dream It, Be It program. And so she'll come kind of give a little bit of insight without going into full victim to survivor training. She's been a CNN news correspondent on human trafficking awareness as well. And it's her story's here, so I'll stay up on this slide for a couple extra minutes.
This is your 2-minute warning.
Thank you, Debbie. So with Connie coming in and able to kind of relate on a different level to women and girls, we've had her speak at our Live Your Dream Awards banquet, and she meets or speaks with the women that have received the awards as well. So that component has been lovely. And I know our Uplift Her program also talks about giving Live Your Dream Awards in January or to somebody who has become a victim to a survivor. And then my last slide there. is just this was at a Dream It Be It. None of the teens are in this photo because they were all from foster care, which is a highly targeted area for human trafficking, especially here in Tampa. I can't speak to the other parts of the world. I feel like it would be everywhere. So the teens that we did this specific Dream It Be It for were all in foster care, and we couldn't have them photographed. But that is my time. I appreciate you guys having me on this evening, and thank you to Deb, Kaden, Sam, for the great information prior to my presentation.
Michelle, thank you so much from the left coast. Thank you for staying up to join us tonight. It's just so interesting, all of the different things that you explained that you do to raise awareness and especially to try to reach a younger demographic of potential victims. And to hear about Connie Rose and all of the things that you do, just really inspiring to all of us. So thank you very much for joining. And now, before we conclude our panel, I'd like to invite each panelist to just tell us what is a takeaway you'd like us all to leave with tonight. And then we're going to follow with a question and answer period with Carrie Tinker from our steering committee. So Sam, what's a takeaway you would like our participants to have?
I guess what I'm hearing is that there is a groundswell of Soroptimists who are passionate about this, and I think we exist probably throughout the country, throughout the Federation, throughout the world. So I would like to see us be able to express that in some way that can make the world know that Soroptimists believe in women and believe that women should not be treated in this way.
Thank you, Sam. I'll move on to Deb. You're muted.
I had to find myself to unmute me. I guess for me, the big thing is I'm going to try not to get emotional. I'm just very passionate about the work that I do with domestic violence victims, sexual assault victims, and human trafficking victims. And being a grandmother, it just really frightens me how easy these traffickers can get into our children's devices. Mm-hmm. And I'm just very passionate in trying to eliminate what we can in our small corner of the world to protect the kids, because that's my passion, is just protecting those that I care about and those that are in my community.
Thank you very much, Deb. Kaden, a takeaway?
If there's one message I would love to share is that you can do something. Donate $40 to put together a dream bag. Something simple, and that's one woman you have empowered. Sit down, write 20 note cards and give them to Soroptimist clubs that are doing the dream bags. That's 20 women or men that you have just given pat on the back for little empowerment.
Thank you, Kaden. And finally, Michelle, a takeaway?
Thank you. I would say there was a gentleman that spoke at an SI convention, and he said that the way we communicate with our youth has to be a little bit different. And so instead of telling them, everything you do on the internet is going to impact you for the rest of your life, we have to let them know it's okay to share with us if something does come across their games or their feeds, to not be afraid and keep it from us. So express to your kids, your grandkids, and any minors that that it's a safe space to talk about what's coming in, because we have to prevent them from falling into those areas. Yeah. So that would be my takeaway.
Thank you, Michelle. And now I'll turn over the mic to Carrie Tinker from our steering committee for the question and answer session.
Thank you, Debbie. Okay, so I do have a few questions. This first question is for Deb. How do you address the men using the underage children?
Can you repeat that, please?
How do you address men using underage children?
Most of the time I'm working with law enforcement on that, and that is their job, of taking care of the men. I work closely with children's services to help the kids in any way that we can, and let law enforcement handle the men.
Okay, and then there was another question for you, Deb. How long overall is the priceless event? Sorry, how long overall the priceless event was with the screening and additional elements? And did you focus on weeknights or was it a Saturday event?
We did both. We had some, because we did it in the summertime. So we had evenings and we had a couple Saturday afternoons. I think we had a Sunday too. It was usually about 2 to 2.5 hours. We try not to go over 2.5 hours because the movie was an hour and a half. Then our PowerPoint presentation was about 30 minutes. And then we started with the meal and let them have the 30 minutes to eat and mingle with each other. And we tried to mingle with the girls and the parents while they were eating, and try to build some camaraderie with them so that they felt comfortable with us for the entire evening.
Great, thank you.
Mhm.
And this is a question for all of you speakers. What benefit have you found in working with coalitions to address this topic? If each one of you can give us a couple lines on that.
Oh, from our
Okay.
standpoint in San Diego, that is the heart of what we do. We started as part of a coalition that we didn't even know, and became more and more connected as time has gone on. We serve on some of the boards of some of these nonprofits. We attend the ongoing meetings of the county groups that meet. So for us, it's just been phenomenal to connect with all of these other folks. And of course, the benefit to us is they know who Soroptimist is, which is always what we're after, right?
Deb, you want to respond? What benefit have you found working with coalitions to address this topic?
Like Sam just said, I started off as being part of the coalition from Allen County, which is a neighboring county, with crime victim services. And then from there, when I was in Hardin County, then that's how we branched out and started things in Hardin County. So it was very beneficial for me to work with crime victim services and make that connection. And through that connection, we've been able to do a lot of other things to benefit people of Hardin County.
Great. Michelle, can we hear your thoughts?
Yes, I feel that it's similar to what Sam said. It's a collective impact. And so people are actually able to see what we do. We all have our niche. And if we work together instead of against each other or alongside one another, together is really the best way for us to have each one of these survivors transition out of that back into the civilian world, right? We can't do it all alone. And so together with the coalition is really the best way.
Great. And Kaden?
I guess our angle is a little different. We're working directly with the victims in a different angle. We're still new to the coalition, or it started as a club project, and it's expanding because the FBI is seeing the connections to community programs like Soroptimist and Dream Bags have a lot of benefits. So we're still in the infant or toddler stage. We're not quite infant, maybe toddler stage. Not quite preteen, but we're expanding and we learn along as we go.
Great. And then one last question, and this is for you, Kaden. How many dream bags do you create in a year, and what is the club budget?
The club budget is $1,000. And it's because of a couple of special members that we are able to make that 1,000 go. Our goal is 4 to 5 dream bags a month that go to Breaking the Chains, which is a street level program, local program that literally helps women get off the streets. And then we do anywhere between 5 to 12 dream bags to the FBI that goes between 3 offices at this time. It has fluctuated as our fundraising goes, and because of Rachel Bennett, who has become my partner in crime, and her husband, they've really taken on this project, and they have been known to fill in the holes when we've got it. But we had some dream bags. We had some bags donated, duffel bags and backpacks that helped extend our budget.
Great. Thank you so much, ladies. I just want to say personally, I'm very inspired by all of your presentations tonight. Back to you, Debbie.
Yeah, actually, there's a few more questions.
Oh, I didn't see them. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
But one question was specifically for Sam, I think. What was the third movie that you mentioned?
I'll get it for you in a moment.
Okay. And then just, is there anybody in the audience? We do have a few more minutes, and I appreciate, this is Dawn Marie, and I just appreciate all of our speakers who were so mindful of the time. And I know you had 10,000 more things to say. You will get everybody's contact information. So hopefully this is the beginning of your conversation with your colleagues, your sister Soroptimists. But is there in the audience, any other questions that people have or comments you want to make? We have a few more minutes.
There are 2 more questions.
I'll answer Dawn Marie about the third movie was called Chosen, and that we did in 2014.
There is a question. How do we find the information on the Priceless movie?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
How do we find information on the Priceless movie?
You can Google it and it will come up.
I just did that.
You did it?
Because we're looking at another movie, so we like it.
It's oh my gosh, it's amazing. I've seen it, I don't know how many times, and I still cry. It's very, very powerful.
Any
I had a question. How do we partner with FBI in our local area? Like you mentioned different FBI offices, but are they interconnected so that if we reached out locally, we would be able to connect with someone who knew about this program?
Yes. Contact me, and I'm at sidreambags@gmail.com. And let me know what area you're from, and I will contact Holly Peacock Hickey, who is our local contact. She has already said that she has no problems knowing which FBI offices locally that you would be helping, and she will have no problem reaching out to them and introducing the program to them if they're not already aware, because I understand a couple of offices have already been made aware, but she will help us facilitate that.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Shanti has her hand raised, but you need to unmute.
Yes, thank you. I'm calling from Northern California, from Berkeley, from the El Cerrito chapter. So I have a question. I teach children 4 years old to 18-year-olds, and part of what I teach them are communication skills and sovereignty over your body, your mind, your spirit. So I understand, unfortunately, apparently there are many men who enjoy underage sex, and the whole thing is pretty abhorrent to those of us who've grown up lucky in the US as girls and women in a protected way. But I actually have some friends who have been prostitutes as mature women have made that choice as a way to make money. And considering it's the oldest, so they say, profession on the planet, do you work also with mature women who have chosen to be prostitutes? And what is the problem? Why do men feel they have to go after innocent people? Why can't they just, make a safe world as they do in Amsterdam, as I understand, for the adult prostitutes?
I'm going to jump right in.
Okay.
Actually, there was a study that just was printed this week about prostitution in Amsterdam, and they found out that it is not something that people elect to do. It's the oldest form, what people call it the oldest profession, but people in the field that are trying to educate others about human trafficking and sexual, abuse are call it the oldest form of oppression. And there are many, many, many studies on the repercussions on humans being in the prostitution field. It is typically, it is more often a poverty sex because people have to feed their kids. I mean, there's so many, so many, so many issues. I'm really thrilled that you're interested in this. There is tons of information. Polaris is a marvelous, marvelous resource, and the blue campaign. If you look these up, you will start understanding some of these, the rationale and the reasons behind this. And then the National Institute for the Child Exploitation. We will, after this, we'll have some resources available. But thank you so much for asking that huge and awesome and wonderful and terrible question, because we don't have enough time actually to address it. And there's so many reasons why people do evil things, and it's an important thing to know. But there are really good programs for people to teach children to have to respect their own bodies and to be safe. You don't have to invent them. So I'm thrilled that you're doing that, and there are resources available for you. I think, Debbie, we're going to have to kind of wrap up because we've got two more brief little
Yes.
presentations.
So, well, we had
we're-
one more person, Suzanne Heron, who had her hand raised for a while. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. Suzanne Heron.
Yes, thanks so much, you guys. I just wanted to weigh in after Dawn Marie. One of our past governors in the Western Canada region, Yannicka Lewis, was instrumental in starting the petitions in Canada that ultimately in 10 years led to, in Canada, what's called the Protection of Communities and Exploited Persons Act, which brings the Nordic model light to Canada. There's in terms of in trying to deal with prostitution, there's very briefly, there's three ways a country can deal with prostitution. They can make the prostitution illegal, they can make the whole thing legal, or they can make buying sex illegal. And Yannicka's done an awesome presentation. I'll put a link to it in the chat. But there's a ton of information that can be had just by looking up the Nordic model of, yeah.
Thank you very much for weighing in. And I think we're going to move on now. But first, I'd like to thank our panelists so much for joining us tonight and sharing so much information. My wheels are already turning. We're just planning our event for January. So you've really inspired thought, and I think all of us. And I'd also like to thank everyone watching, and also those who came forward and asked questions. It really helped everybody get a lot of knowledge and information out there. So we're going to move on now to hear from Terry Rose from our STAT2 steering committee, who is also part of Soroptimist International of Huntington Beach. And Terry will give us an overview of our STAT2 group. Terry?
Hopefully. Yes, hopefully. Hold on one second. Okay, so can you see this? So Stat 2 was modeled after Stat exclamation point, which started in San Diego. We saw what was doing, we saw the results, and we started really as four clubs who already had been working somewhat in trying to stop human trafficking in Southern California. And we started with these four clubs, and we've grown into this coalition of clubs from 3 regions and 5 counties. So we are now a coalition of clubs in LA, Orange, Riverside, San Diego, or San Bernardino, excuse me, Sam, and we could incorporate you, and Ventura counties, and then the 3 regions. Again, our personal goals are to advocate, educate, and support those with boots on the ground. And I say that we do a lot of that supporting of organizations that have boots on the ground here in Orange County, with helping at Ensure Justice, which is done by Vanguard University, and helping with the Fair Trade Fashion Show, which is done by the students at Vanguard who have a club called Live to Free. We do it by attending the Orange County Human Trafficking Task Force meetings, and we do it by participating in things like survivor graduations and things like that. I think that from my perspective, that we're heavy in the support area. Susan and Dawn and Bonnie and those can say, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
But I think that's really where we're at. Whoops, what is that? Sorry, this is weird. Don't know what's going on. But let's just do it this way. Okay, so some of our accomplishments in 2024, 2025 is that we produced, created, and attracted people to our 2 virtual programs. This one being our fall program, which is a roundtable of Soroptimists. So we can all share ideas about what we're doing and we can learn. I certainly have learned a lot and found out, I saw in the chat that our HQ will actually recognize Dream Bags as a Big Goal Accelerator project as long as we have period products included in those bags. So, I mean, just that alone to me was learning. We also have a virtual event again in January during Human Trafficking Awareness Month, where we actually invite speakers and survivors that speakers that are in knowledgeable areas or in organizations, and then survivors. So again, it's not as geared towards what we Soroptimists are doing, but being outside the box to the general world. This year we actually were blessed enough to give 4 Big Goal Accelerator Project scholarships, 2 for our Golden West region, 1 for our Camino Real, 1 for our Orange County, and 1 for our Ventura. And we're hoping to do the same, if not more, next year or this coming year. We also try to support each other by attending events that are being put on by clubs in the coalition. So there was a small contingent of us who drove up to Simi Valley, which is not close, by the way, to where we are in Orange County, so that we could attend the Apathy Effect presentation and also the show, the display that they had. And because they go around the world and they show how all of these people, kids, boys and girls, and just people are being trafficked by predators. And so we try to support multiple events by our clubs when we're able to. And as I mentioned, we do participate in local events. And then if you would like to know more about who we are and what we do, you can go to www.soroptimisttogetheragainsttrafficking.org. And Mary Chippetta, who's also on our steering committee, does a really good job of posting all the time what's going on and what's pertinent to us. So we love to have you join us. And there you are. So we do have a YouTube channel as well. And I don't know if you all know much about YouTube, but you need to get 25 people who subscribe to your YouTube channel before YouTube starts to recognize that you are who you are. So, we encourage people to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Again, visit our website or just contact us at info@soroptimisttogetheragainsttrafficking.org. So Don or Susan, who are our co-chairs, if you'd like to add anything that I've forgotten, otherwise, I'm turning it back to Debbie.
Anybody?
No, I think you did a great job. We as a coalition, we work to identify what's the most urgent thing. Our webinars that we do in January are always topical. So we focused on labor trafficking last year because we knew the least about it. And I suspect we may be focusing on online safety pretty soon, if not this year, next year, because it's just something we all can do something about. And yeah, that actually, Terry, may I go ahead and talk about the A21 movie?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot that.
So we today went to the Orange County Human Trafficking Task Force, and here, my dears, A21 is an organization that is international. It stands for Agenda 21, and the key is to abolish human slavery and trafficking, but in the 21st century. And for many, many, many years, they've done walks in addition to victim service and rescue and recovery and that sort of thing. And the walks are really different than any kind of walk. You walk single file, wearing black, you don't talk, and you carry posters to educate wherever you're walking about it. But this year, my dears, starting October 4th, will be the launch of a film that we actually had the privilege of viewing today before the launch. And it's a 45-minute film, and it is free. It is free to everybody that wants to show it. And it's on online safety primarily. And it's just brilliant. It's so well done. It has voices from around the world. So we will have that, how to get that movie. If you want to do it, it's called what was the summit? It's called I just looked it up. The Global Summit. They're starting
It's
they
the
want to know.
Global Freedom Summit.
Thank you. The Global Freedom Summit. And if you're interested in doing it, they want to know that you're doing it so they can say that there was, 150 events around the world on that day. But it starts October 4th, and you can get it anytime after that as well. So that's that. And back to Debbie, who's going to talk about advocacy.
Thank you, Dawn Marie. I'm going to give a very brief legislative update because our time is almost coming to a close. And I have a few laws on the books in California that I'm just very briefly going to describe. If you're watching from out of state or even out of the country, perhaps you have similar laws on the books. And if you have, I can't get into that much detail or I'll be here all night. But if you have questions about any of the laws that I'm going to briefly mention, you can look them up and learn about the legislative history and maybe some of the discussions that went back and forth in Sacramento. But first, I'd like to just briefly review AB 1227 with you, which is also known as the Human Trafficking Prevention, Education, and Training Act, which was enacted in California and took effect in January of 2019. And this law mandates that school districts include human trafficking prevention education in grades 7 through 12 as part of their comprehensive sexual health education, and requires human trafficking awareness training for school personnel. So I'd encourage anybody in California, and again, without California, who has a similar law in the books, to perhaps find out what your school district is doing. I didn't have time to get that information to share with you about the school district in my county, but it's very interesting, and we should all know what, if anything, is going on in our own school districts. The next law I'd like to mention is Senate Bill 1414, which was signed into law in September of 2024. And this law will increase the penalty for trafficking from a misdemeanor to a felony for the solicitation or purchase of a minor for a commercial sex act in California, with the exception of 16 and 17-year-olds who would have to prove that they are victims of human trafficking. And the most recent law that was signed into law in July of this year is Assembly Bill 379, which will go into effect in January of 2026. Makes it a felony to solicit a 16 and 17-year-old for commercial sex and adds a misdemeanor for loitering with the intent to purchase sex. So that's my brief legislative update. And if anybody would like to chime in with anything they'd like to add, I invite you. Okay, then I'm going to turn the mic to our wonderful Susan Gilby from our Stat 2 Steering Committee, who is part of Soroptimist International of Westminster, California. Susan?
Well, first of all, our thanks to everyone who took the time to join us tonight. Our goal was to spark the desire for sustainable change in our local communities and beyond. So hopefully you feel empowered with new ideas, prepared with action steps, and ready to go to work wherever you are across the country and beyond. To our presenters, Sam, Deb, Caden, and Michelle, you've inspired us with your dedication and determination to bring the evils of human trafficking to an end in your community and, by extension, elsewhere. You've shared your programs and projects with us, offered suggestions so we can develop similar ones locally, and provided an impetus for us to just begin. For all that and more, we sincerely thank you. We are especially grateful to Steering Committee member Deb Samuel, rhymes with camel, I will never forget, who acted as our moderator for this evening, and to Terry Rose for all she does to ensure the presentations and technology always works. As you heard earlier, we are looking for supporters to help us provide Big Goal Accelerator grants to female survivors and to engage subject matter expert speakers or agencies for participation in our January events. Just so you know, all of our administrative expenses are covered by donations from our steering committee members, so that everything you ever would give us would carry the fight forward to eradicate all forms of human trafficking. And if what you've heard here inspires you, your club, or even your church group, please consider joining us. For more information, as Terry mentioned, on this or any other, please visit our website at soroptimisttogetheragainsttrafficking.org, and watch for news for our next event on Zoom on January 28th, 2026, where we'll have an informative program featuring experts in the field of ending all forms of modern-day slavery and empowering the survivors. Until then, many, many thanks. Stay safe and have a good evening. Good night, everyone.